Ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited, highly anticipated, back by popular demand, Bridger Pretz, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin.
The man just flew in from his on-spot, on-site review of the new marriage where it's going to take place and so forth.
Yeah, so we just got in from Colorado. We did a little micro wedding through a company out there where actually my wife found them on TikTok, and even before we started dating, she had already planned that as her whole wedding thing because she loved it so much. They're actual former teachers that they quit teaching after COVID, and they started this wedding company up there in Colorado. So we signed up through them, and it was absolutely beautiful and everything we wanted.
Holy cow, baby. Hey, wait a minute. It was an on-site look over. It was the actual deal. I do.
Oh yeah. They
Oh,
did. They do everything for you. So they had food already for us. They had the venue, everything. The only thing we had to get is a person to obviously do the wedding, like a minister or whatever, and then we did to take our own pictures. But other than that, they did everything for us.
would you go into a local tavern and got the preacher, man, or what?
No, we had a family friend come and do it.
Oh, wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you, Bridger, that makes you whale certified, bro. You're the first newlywed ever on whale certified.
Nice. I'll take it.
All right. Wow. Wow, man. Congratulations. Geez, that is something, man.
Yeah.
We're all giddy for you, man. Okay. And did you pack up and move to Kansas City already?
So we're doing that now. We're in the middle of packing up. We're hoping to get out of our house on the 9th. We're closing. That's when our closing date is for our house here in Moberly, and then we're doing it on the same day and closing on our house in Kansas City. So lot going on.
Yeah, baby. Well, thank you for taking your time out for the Whale Certified Nation.
Oh, I'd do it anytime, man. I love getting on it. I love talking about soccer.
Yeah. And can you tell the nation where people can find your podcast?
Yeah, so they can find it on Spotify. If they just type up my name, Bridger Pretz, on there, it should pop up. It's called On the Pitch with Bridger Pretz. We're going to be interviewing college coaches, high school coaches, basically just anybody in the game and of all of Missouri, not just one specific area. I've got a couple things lined up with some guys that are from international places that I played college soccer with that are going to tell me their story. But basically, we're not leaving it to only being Missouri. We're going to try and do the entire world, man.
Amen, brother. That's how large you are. Yeah. When people see you, one of the first things that come to that person's going places.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot, man. I've been working hard, just meeting people and making friends everywhere I go.
Yeah, you do. All right, then. Here we go. We're going to put the soccer cap on now. And here it is. Class 1 on they're playing on the 6th of June out here at the soccer park of Blair Oaks and in Smithtown. Any idea who and what?
So actually, funny enough, they're here at Moberly. We play Smithton and we played Blair Oaks last year, regular season. I'm actually good buddies with both of these coaches. And I'd be lying to say that both of them didn't text me and be like, "Hey, what can you tell me about Blair Oaks?" And the other one was like, "Hey, what can you tell me about Smithton?" So I kind of had to play both sides here, and I'm a very honest guy. I'm not gonna BS with anybody, So if I had to pick it, I think Smithton had a easier district, but that was just it's your region. It has nothing to do with your level or your talent of your team. I think Blair Oaks had a little bit tougher schedule in the overall season. And I just think Blair Oaks has the pieces that they're probably going to be the ones that take this win. And if I had to guess a score, I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-1 win for Blair Oaks, because I think Smithton is gritty enough that they're going to fight the entire time and get a goal.
Well, man, we Venmo the line to you, man. Wow, you give us the real insight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Blair Oaks definitely had a tougher district, but they also it helped them as they got to host it. So having that home field advantage, I can't remember. So obviously they're not going to have home field advantage anymore, but Blair Oaks is really known for having a lot of athletes. Both these programs are newer programs. I mean, Smithton got a girls team, I think, 4 years ago, and Blair Oaks got a girls team 3 years ago. So the fact that they're both already in Final Fours just shows the hard work that both of those coaches are putting in. The Smithton coach is Sean Hutchinson. He was at Clinton before he was at Smithton, and then Blair Oaks coach, it's Jordan Trimble. He was at Jefferson City before he was at Blair Oaks. So both of them have plenty of experience.
Sure do, yeah. And they played the winner, whoever wins that match, plays the winner of Ellsbury Silax and Barstow.
Oh, yeah. So on this one, this one's a tough one to predict, really, because Ellsbury's got a lot of pieces. You know, they haven't lost a lot of games. They play a decent schedule. But Barstow plays a pretty tough schedule up there in Kansas City. You know, they're playing tougher schools. They're a private school. I was actually pretty surprised that Barstow won their district the way that they did. You know, they beat Guadalupe Center's Charter. They beat Lone Jack, and then they beat Mid-Buchanan. Not the toughest district in the world, you know, but again, I was kind of surprised they won it the way they did. And then, you know, with Ellsbury winning their district, they beat Veritas Christian, Principia, and Crossroads College Prep. Again, some teams that aren't the best in the world. Ellsbury's got a girl. I think it's actually Coach White's daughter. She's signed on. She's going to be playing at Baylor in 2 years. She's already signed now, and she's a junior. She's going Division I. So she's the one that's kind of spearheading Ellsbury's success right now, and I think the coach has got the entire team rolling really well. I'm going to go on this one because I don't know enough about Barstow. I'm going to go Ellsbury wins this one 2-0.
Wow, baby. I mean to tell you, you're like that chocolate. It's a box of chocolate, so much surprise.
Well, it's just, I get Ellsbury to come down to our tournament every year. Unfortunately, we didn't play them just because of the way they were set up, just how I put them in the bracket, because I didn't know anything about them until I literally talked to the coach the other day. So, but I think he's got the team doing really well. His daughter's, I think it's his daughter, but he's got that girl who's going to Baylor she's just the whole on another level. I mean, she would play on most boys' teams. She's that legit.
Wow, man. And so, this two schools must have combined here.
Yeah, so Ellsbury's a pretty small area. It's kind of up there by Winfield. So in Silex, I want to say is like maybe 10 miles away. So they're a pretty small group of kids.
Yeah, and so do you know anything about Silex? How that all turned out?
No, I mean I know Ellsbury's the one that has soccer because we used to play them on the boys' side when I was a coach at Fulton. But I know that the Ellsbury's the one that has soccer, and Silex, I think, has football. So I think kids from Ellsbury can go play football in Silex, and then kids from Silex can go to Ellsbury to play soccer.
Oh, how cool is that, baby? I'm glad I asked you. And then the last question, the follow-up, is to say that you mentioned how Barstow, how they did it. How did they do it? Did they do something with the water, or did they have in the referees, or how did they do it, baby?
I mean, they kind of steamrolled through everybody. I think they won 8-0, 8-0, and then they won the district championship 4-0 against Mid-Buchanan. But Mid-Buchanan has had – it's been a little bit different of a year. They've had some pretty good players last couple of years, but I think and again, they're kind of a newer program as well. I think they're only about 6 or 7 years old of having a program. Coach Beers has got them doing good things, and she's another one of those smaller communities that gets a lot of athletes, and I think they just met their match with Barstow. With those private schools, some of them you never know what you're going to get every year because kids graduate or some kids can't afford to go there. They go to public school or whatever. But Barstow is one of those where it tends to be. They'll have the ups and downs, but they tend to be a pretty solid team. Again, I don't know who they have on. I don't know their roster enough to say too much about them, so I'm just going to pick with who I know, and that's why I picked Ellsbury.
Right on. And so you have Blair Oaks and Ellsbury on your card. Who you flip on that?
I mean, even with Ellsbury's Division I girl, I think overall Blair Oaks might have more pieces than Ellsbury does. But it's really hard not to go for a team that's won 16 games and has only lost 2, whereas Blair Oaks has, I want to say their record is about 15-7-1. But again, I look at their record, and I look at the teams that they play. They're playing Borgia, they're playing Camdenton, they're playing Jefferson City, Southern Boone, Osage. And then I look at Ellsbury, and they're playing teams, like they played Winfield, they played Canton, Eugene, Fulton, Wright City. I mean, if we're going with tougher schedule, I have to go with Blair Oaks, but it's tough for me to not to go for Ellsbury. So I am going to vote Ellsbury wins this one 2-1 in overtime.
Woo, baby. I like your style. Okay, then, put a new cap on. You're going to Class 2.
Mm-hmm.
You're
know quite a few of these ones.
All right, then. The Catholic school down in Perryville, St. Vincent, playing Logan Rogersville.
Yeah. This one's going to be a good game. I mean, St. Vincent is 20-3. They've got one heck of a schedule. I know that southern area isn't the best. Obviously Perryville has had a couple of good teams last couple of years. They usually get a lot of ODP kids. The only thing I know about Logan Rogersville is they've got a stud girl that scored like 84 goals last year. Logan Rogersville was the team that beat us last year. After we won our district title, they beat us in quarterfinals. And that girl had all 4 of their goals. And so she's an absolute tank. She took them to Final Four last year. I still think that St. Vincent is going to beat them. I think that this girl from Logan Rogersville is definitely going to get a goal or two just because that's the kind of player she is. So I'm going to say St. Vincent wins 4-2.
Wow, baby. 84 goals? That's like a goal a minute or something.
No, dude, she was absolutely amazing. I mean, it was 0-0 with about about 5 minutes left in the half. We scored a crazy goal off of them. So we went up 1-0 into halftime. 20 minutes left in the game. It was still 1-0 us, and we just absolutely crumbled. We made a couple of mistakes, and she was able to break through. I mean, we didn't see a girl like that all year, and we just after 60 minutes of basically trying to stop her, we unfortunately let her through. And once she gets a goal, she doesn't stop. She wound up having 3 more after she scored. So we lost that game 4-1. It was pretty heartbreaking, but we were 20 minutes away from Moberly being in its first ever Final Four. So unfortunately, it just wasn't our day because we had to face that girl, and she was legit. So, but I think that our other pieces around her are still good. I just don't think they're going to be enough to take on St. Vincent.
Wow. Well, on behalf of Wales Certified, I want to give my condolences and offer you and your team, your new bride, a pretzel from Gus's Pretzels. They've been twisting it since 1920. And so, all right, now comes a little St. Louis team called Clayton High School, very nice area, playing against Pleasant Hill.
Yeah, so this one, I don't know enough about Clayton. I've just known enough that from like Dave talking about him and things like that. But because that whole Clayton, Ladue, John Burroughs area is just amazing. I do know that Orchard Farm is who beat us this year in districts, and they definitely had an all-around better team than us. And the fact that Clayton beat them kind of must show that their level is way higher than them. Pleasant Hill, we actually played them as our first game of the year this year. We lost 3-0. Again, we still had a couple girls out with injuries, but we also just we weren't playing our best soccer at that time of the year. It's the first game of the year. So, but I mean, I still think Pleasant Hill is really, really good. They lost some games this year that really surprised me. They lost to Notre Dame Design. That doesn't surprise me, but they're really good. They lost to Pembroke Hill. They lost to Maryville. That's the one that really surprised me, is Maryville. That lost to them. But overall, I mean, they play a really, really tough schedule. They beat teams like Helias. They beat teams like They beat teams like Smithville. Smithville had a really good year. And then I look at Clayton's schedule, and again, they're playing tougher schools. If I had to do the overall pick on this one, just because, I mean, Clayton is playing better this time of year, I'm going to have to go, just because it's who we played, I'm going to go with Pleasant Hill wins this one 2-1. It'll be a close game.
Wow, baby, yeah. Hey, you know how to do solo CPR? I mean, you're okay over there? I mean, you hit.
Yeah, I know how to do solo CPR.
All right, then. So here we go, bro. You got St. Vincent, if I'm not mistaken, and you got Pleasant Hill. Who you flip?
I'm gonna have to go with St. Vincent on this one, and I'm kind of going based on record and the teams that they were playing. They're playing those teams like Notre Dame Cape, Visitation Academy. I know Viz wasn't very good this year on their record, but Viz plays a really tough schedule. And they beat a lot of teams 8-0, 7-1, 8-0. So I'm going to go with St. Vincent wins this one in PKs against Pleasant Hill.
Woo, baby. I mean to tell you, you're rocket fire. All right.
Well, class one and class 2 is kind of my wheelhouse. That's what I stick around. And then obviously the 3s and 4s, I won't know a ton. I'll obviously know most of the schools, but those are the ones where it gets a little bit tougher because anybody can win class 3 and class 4 with the teams that are out there.
You got it. All right, now. So you put a pin up in the bill or something for class 3. We're going to class 3. Maureen McVeigh, her last year coaching, going for St. Joseph's Academy, playing Elias Catholic out of Jefferson City.
Yep. And I know the coach John Deshay there at Elias pretty well, but here's the thing: you can't vote against St. Joe's, so I'm gonna have to say St. Joe's wins this one 3-1. With it being her last year, I think there's probably gonna be a little bit of passion and luck behind her that's gonna push this team through. So I'm gonna go with St. Joe's wins this one 3-1.
All right, then. They play the winner of the Fort Zumwalt South Bulldogs, and it's the Notre Dame de Sion.
Yes. So you got St. Louis versus Kansas City here. I think this one's going to be a tough one because both these teams are absolutely phenomenal. But with what they've done the last couple of years, I can't vote against Fort Zumwalt South. I've got to go for them. Notre Dame Design's really good. They won Class 2 state last year. But I think they're going to meet their match here against Fort Zumwalt.
Wow, baby. Well, you're in the pit. You got the Bulldogs from Fort Zumwalt South, and then the Irish of St. Joseph's Academy.
Well, if they're the Irish, because I'm a Notre Dame fan, I've got to go for the Irish.
Well, under full disclosure, their colors are green and white, and McVeigh, she's an Irish legend around town.
Boom, then I'm going for it. Yep.
All right. That's a little jocular. That's a ticket I want to be on. I want to see that game, man.
She's going to have it's going to be an absolute amazing game. I mean, there's going to be a lot of high-level soccer right there from those girls. I mean, lots of D1 talent, lots of D2 talent, so it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. All right, then. We're going as high as we can go. Class 4. And there's 4 teams left, Final 4. And there you have it. You have Coriezu Academy with the great Matty Di Maria
Oh yeah.
against Nixa.
I like. I always wish that Springfield. There's something about Springfield. They tend to struggle. They struggled these last. I think the teams from Springfield, besides like Springfield Catholic, they've really kind of struggled the last couple of years pushing through to make it to a state championship and winning it. I think that's still going to affect them today because I honestly think who's going to beat Corey Hazu? I mean, I don't really know who's going to beat that girl. So I'm going to vote for them beating Nixa, but I'm going to say it's going to be like a 3-0.
Wow, baby. Now, they played the winner of St. Dominic against Lee Summit West.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, in this one, honestly, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put Lee Summit West on this one, just by beating Liberty North. They're 16-5. The losses that they had, they lost to Lee Summit North, which is always a battle. They lost to St. Teresa's Academy, but they had big wins against Blue Springs, Liberty North earlier in the regular season. They beat Staley. I mean, just overall, they had a really good year. So I think that they're going to upset St. Dominic. I know it's really an upset when you're a Final Four, but the thing is, when you have the name St. Dominic anywhere, they always think that they're going to win because they're a powerhouse team. They've won a state title the last couple of years. But again, I just think that Lee Summit's going to pull off a win against them. So that might be a little surprise pick for some of the people. But
yeah,
hey, you gotta throw some curveballs in there. So
absolutely, make it spicy. Well, there you go. And there's nobody who will be chasing after you if your picks aren't right.
Well, I probably just won't get an invite for the Soccer Dad Pod because I went against St. Dominic. Probably won't get any invites to that show. So,
all right then. So there you have it. You got the Coriezu Academy going head to head with Lee Summit West.
Mm-hmm.
Your pick.
Oh, I gotta go Corey Hazu, man. I don't see anybody stopping that team right now. So I'm gonna go with Corey Hazu.
Wow. Did you get a chance to get a look-see at him last season?
I watched a little bit of film on him just because somebody was telling me about that Di Maria girl, and I was like, I gotta see what all the hype is about. And just watching the way they move the ball, their physicality, how fast they are, they just make decisions way faster than I can even do. So that team is just legit. So I think it's gonna be them for sure.
Yeah, they really put on a clinic out there at the St. Louis High School Champions League, which was really off the charts, the inaugural. And Maddie didn't disappoint, man. I mean,
yeah. And that's another thing that brings that up. Is like they won the Champions League, so they're going for, I think they won their conference as well. So, I mean, they're literally working on a treble, and a district title, so they could win a quadruple this year. I mean, seriously, they win their conference, they won the Champions League, they won their district title, and now they're on their way to a state title. They can win a quadruple.
Wow, baby. Well, we have to have a researcher at Wales Certified to dig deep if anybody else ever did that.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess
soccer's my thing, man. It's my addiction. I'm always looking it up, so always keeping tabs on everything. So.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the Bridger, he's, like he said, he ain't whiffing anybody bad. He's just, saying what he sees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I could be wrong on every single one of them, but, I mean, in the end, I only go by what I know and what I see. So this is what I know and this is what I see.
There you go. And, hey, if the dads don't want you always got room over here at the Whale Certified.
Well, sweet.
Yeah. And, okay, so now you have all that. What has been your, getting married, holy cow, But, but what was the say like the one major wow, something wow factor that happened in your season, and one, oh man, that's going to be tough to get over.
I think the big wow that happened was, I mean, I'll take we beat Southern Boone this year, which they're obviously a team here in this central area that I've never beaten them on the girls' side, and I've been coaching now for 9 years from being an assistant to a head coach. I've never beat them on the girls' side, and this year was finally the year that we did it, and we beat them at their place. It wasn't for a district or conference title or anything like that, but it was just a regular season game. But that was one heck of a game, and we were really excited to be a part of that. So that was my big wow. And then my big would probably be, I mean, obviously losing to districts against Orchard Farm was a pretty big letdown, but we knew it was going to be a tough game. But that would kind of be the biggest lull because it officially ended my time there at Moberly. So that was my big low point of the year.
Yeah. Hey, man, you got 5 more minutes with me?
I got 5 more minutes.
All right, great. Overall, your state of Missouri soccer level of quality since you've been around?
Mm-hmm. I mean, in at least the central Missouri area, I think the level's always getting better. I think the level's good. Obviously, I don't think the central area is at the St. Louis or Kansas City level yet. We will have the occasional players that are at that level for sure. And then sometimes we're able to compete with some of those teams on a 1 or 2 game basis. But to do it every single game, every single night with that level, I don't think Central Missouri is there, but it is growing and it is getting better. There's just a lot of things we've got to do. I mean, we need more club options here. We need more high schools to get soccer. I mean, there's still, just in Moberly alone, the closest team to us is a 40-minute drive for soccer. Whereas there in St. Louis and Kansas City, it's 10 minutes. I mean, every school pretty much has soccer up there in that St. Louis area. So we need more soccer. We need more youth. But overall, it is growing and it is getting better.
Okay. And far as the rivals, the rivalry, are you getting it that together in Central? And what do you think about the rivalries between Kansas City, Central, Springfield, and all St. Louis?
Yeah, I mean, the Central area definitely has its rivalries. I mean, it just kind of depends on your area, your conference, and what has somebody done to you lately. I mean, back in the day when I was in high school, Moberly and Helias was a huge rivalry. I mean, we absolutely hated them. They used to always be in our district, but since the championship factor now, we don't see them as much anymore. So now it's kind of gone a little bit more regional and local. We have our rivalries. I mean, obviously, like your Rockbridge and your Hickman are always going to battle it against each other. They're in the same town. You've got your Jeff City and your Cap City, your Jeff City and your Helias, because they're all 3 of those schools are in the same town. Us smaller communities, we have our little rivalries. We have like Southern Boone versus Moberly, I think, is starting to become one, because now they're starting to be in our district more, and they could potentially be in a conference with us here coming up. So you have those rivalries. I know Moberly has always hated Kirksville, so that's one that we've always had. That's because we're pretty much the 2 most up north on Highway 63 schools that have soccer and other sports. So you got your rivalries there, and then, but the rivalry between like Kansas City, St. Louis, Springfield, and Central, I mean, if we are completely honest, the rivalry is really St. Louis versus Kansas City. I mean, Springfield will occasionally throw a team out there like a Springfield Catholic or a Glendale or a Kickapoo will make a run. But the big rivalry, of course, is going to be St. Louis, Kansas City, and I think it's amazing. I mean, on the boys' side, you've got your teams like Rockhurst and Liberty North, teams like that, and then on the girls' side, or on the boys' side, on the St. Louis side, you got all your private Catholic all boys. But you also got like Fort Zumwalt South and all them in there too, and your Ladus. And then on the girls' side, I think the Kansas City rivalry isn't that big on the girls' side, if I'm completely honest. I think that St. Louis pretty much dominates it on the girls' side when it comes to all classes. But occasionally, like I said, with Lee Summit West, I mean, I think that they have a good chance of getting a win against St. Dominic. Notre Dame to Zion's there. They're a Kansas City school. St. Teresa's Academy hasn't been up there in a long time. they've been struggling. But then you also got, your Park Hill South, Liberties, and Liberty Norths that are really good. That they all have to play each other in a district, so it's tough for them to get out of their own region, let alone make a Final Four. So, but I mean, I think the rivalry is great. I think it's healthy, and I think it's what keeps these kids playing high school soccer is these rivalries, because you don't get that in club.
Well, there you have it. And it's a custom here at Whale Certified to say, hey, Bridger, whatever you want to say to who you ever want to say it to, for as long as you want to say it for.
Well, if my wife Kaylee Ann Pretz is watching this or listening to this, I want to tell her I love her.
Did you notice the softball that I gave you, baby? I mean, you hit it out of the park. That was wonderful, man.
Just alley-ooped that one for me, and I dunked it.
Oh,
so.
That was a goalkeeper, punt into the net. Oh, man, that was beautiful, baby. Beautiful. There's not a dry eye in Whale Certified Nation, I tell you. Way to go. And with that, you and the missus are Whale Certified Hall of Famers. And
love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me do this again, Kev. I really enjoy it.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, you were great. And we talk. How do we get to you to listen to your pod?
Yeah, again, it's only on Spotify right now. I've also got it on YouTube, but they can go to On the Pitch with Bridger Pretz on Spotify.
Nice, baby. So long, Bridger. I'll see you around, right?
Yep. See you, Kev.
Bye-bye.